back out here at the kiln, and since the last video I've got a whole lot accomplished here. We got our first door installed yesterday, and the inside of the kiln is pretty much done. We painted it with the aluminum roofing paint. That stuff was terrible to put on. It was like painting cement on the walls. So the inside is finished, besides putting a small table in the back that the kiln will actually sit on and running my electrical wires inside of the building. That's all that's left on that. And of course putting up this other door and insulating it. Now the doors I'm building just like I built the walls. This right here is a radiant layer of some type of foil on this OSB that I'm putting on the outside. And I wish I'd have found this stuff when I sheathed the whole kiln. Not that I need more insulation. Lord knows I put enough of it in this thing. But anyways, that's what I'm doing on these doors, because the doors are more susceptible to probably losing air and losing R value, because they're not a permanent wall or nothing like that. They're constantly being moved, and I couldn't really make them as heavy duty as I wanted to because of the weight of the insulation and the load capacity for the hinges. I put 4 heavy duty hinges on these doors, and the hinges are rated for 250 pounds for every 2 of them. So it's rated for 500 pounds, but once I fill this with the rigid foam and our fiberglass and the faced poly isocarbon insulation and the vapor barrier and all that stuff. So now what's left to do? Finish these doors, put siding on the kiln. Now I can put siding on after it's up and running. What I'm probably going to do is put the siding on the front where the doors are. That way I can put my door latching system on it and go ahead and run my electrical to the kiln and go ahead and put our first load in here and start drying it, and then put siding on the rest of it. I'm going to be using either white oak or red oak for the siding. I got to go next week and saw some up. I got 2 different logging sites. I got some oak on the ground, so I'll go pick through the lowest grade logs that's there and saw up the siding. I'll do board and batten for that. On the front of the kiln, I'm going to be using some just real thin plywood for the siding because of the weight on these doors. Like I said again, I don't want to put heavy 1-inch oak on these doors for siding, because it just adds to the weight load of these doors, and it's going to be heavy enough with the insulation in it. If you remember in a previous video when we installed the trim or the frame for this door, I talked about leaving this 3/4 inch lip right here, and the reason was the door will recess in flush with the building and will go flat against this right here, this 2x4 that comes down. Actually it's a 2x6, and we'll put some rubber weather strip, and I'm not sure what type I'm going to use yet. I'll attach it to the door and this frame here to get a good tight air seal fit when the door shuts in. And I got these doors tight. I'm telling you what now, I tried to get my measurements really close where the door would swing open freely, but it would be really tight to the frame of the building, and it's extremely tight, especially on the floor. But I don't have to worry about that a whole lot, because this room is for kiln drying, of course, and the lumber will start shrinking every time there's a load in here. So these 2x4s are kiln dried, or so they say at the big box store. They're probably about 15 or 18%, truth be known. I'm not testing them, but they're going to shrink a whole lot more once this kiln's up and running. So my tightness in the floor, of course you can't tell it or feel it, but this right here, it takes a good amount of pull to get it to shut, because it's rubbing the floor just a little, just barely rubbing that floor. And when it starts to dry, it will bring that up and won't rub the floor ever again. But right up here at the top, I'll let you guys hear this, I've got a real good seal or a real good measurement, and it fits really well against my top piece up here. Did y'all hear that? That's a good seal right there. Of course you heard it. Well, I got both doors hung, and on top of that, the first door is completed. I got the sheathing installed. So now we're going to start insulating the doors, and the doors will pretty much be done at that point. The only thing left to do at the very end is going to be install my latching system. And I'll probably do an entire video on that latching system to try to explain how it works. And I'll be learning it just as you guys watch it, because I've never used that type of a latching system before. But the guys who I'm getting my help from, who's already built kiln chambers like this before, kind of started using that system to latch the doors with, to put the pressure on the kiln chamber to really seal the doors in tight. And they've had a lot of good success from it. So that's where we'll come in after this is over with and do the latching system. So right now we're going to be starting the insulation for the doors, and we're going to try to mirror the same way we did the insulation on the walls of the kiln. So anyways, we got this done, and now we're going to go ahead and get the spray foam out again and spray foam all these seams right here on the 2x4. Run them on my studs. It's running horizontally, not vertical. I ran them horizontal for the door here. And then after everything's spray foamed, and I got some high temperature HVAC tape I'm going to tape up this seam with here where the OSB had to be pieced together. After that's done, we'll start our layers of insulation again, just like we did on the walls.